Alright, we got the hood off. We take some other parts off. These 3 bolts right here that hold the hood on, we're going to be stepping up here once we get all this stuff off and getting up on the motor and everything, and they're going to be in our way. So I'm going to take these 3 bolts out. I'm going to put them in a little baggie. I labeled it hood mount, and I'm going to tape it to the hood over there so I know that these bolts go to the hood, and we don't get all you know, we don't get all confused about what bolts go where when we go to put this thing back together. You know, the best thing you can do to keep from getting confused when you take a whole lot of stuff loose on an engine is what I tell people to do, and this is my own method, is I label, I'll get like a freezer baggie or something. When you have to leave the bolts out, you usually try to put the bolts back in the holes or whatever, but you know, when you take this much stuff apart, you can't do that. So what I do is I get freezer baggies and I write down, at least as best I can, the proper name of the part that it goes to. And you know, and I put the bolts in the baggie. Well, it sounds like overkill, but you know, you go to put it back together a week later if you have to work on parts, or if somebody has to help you, or if, God forbid, you have an accident, somebody else has to put it back together. You know, this is the difference between it being done right or being done by somebody who's guessing as to what screws go where. So I don't like that. So I try to use proper methods as much as possible. So let's take our 3 hood bolts out, and we'll put them in this baggie, and we'll tape this to the hood so that we know these bolts go to that hood. So let's go ahead and do that, because they're going to be in our way. There we go. All right, now we got some of this apart. The next thing I'm going to do, since the engine's got a lot of age on it, I don't know, the injectors have never been replaced or tested. You know, nothing's ever been a part of my motor. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to check my injectors. I'm going to do an injector leak down test on it. Where's that kit go? Here's the injector leak down kit. I have a YouTube video on how to do this. I'm not going to make a whole video on how to do the injector leak down again. You can watch that video on YouTube and look me up on Rawze.com and check out the injector leak down video set. But I'm going to go ahead and do an injector leak down on it before I go any further, before I pull the coolant and the oil and all that stuff out. So if I know I need new injectors, you know, while I'm having it apart and the head off of it, might as well replace them, right? So let's do an injector leak down before we go any further to see and get a better idea of what I'm going to need once I get it apart. See, let's get some paper towels and we'll wrap them around here and get some painter's tape, and we'll tape this up to kind of cover the grease so I don't get grease all over my arm and stuff when I'm working around here. All right, I think that's what, a T30? Yeah. For the all right, so I got the actuator off. That's one of the metering actuators. That's the one for the front 3 cylinders. I call it fuel actuator. It's actually, the official name's a metering actuator. Yeah. All right, where's our bottle of water?
Hey, you might want to move that rag and fan might get it.
Might get the fan. Cool. Got one leaky injector. Barely. Alright. Actually, it's just barely leaking. It's not throwing bubbles like most of them do when they leak. You'd be hard pressed to find that. It's just barely leaking. So, and that's definitely one injector. It's not like bloop, 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 you know, several sets of bubbles. So,
it looks like it takes a couple of revolutions for it.
I don't see a reason to replace those injectors. I mean, yeah, I got a tiny bit of leak, but this thing's still breaking 8 miles to the gallon everywhere it goes. So I'm not going to change the injector.
Usually, you know, if they come in and they say they got bad fuel mileage, we can do the test the charge air system for leaks. You know, check the little spots there, and then do an injector leak down, and usually you'll find something.
So we're going to use this kit to burn the rest of the fuel out of the injectors and out of the head on the front 3 cylinders, so that when we pull the injector, it don't pour fuel down in the cylinder. You ready? I'm just going to put a little bit of air pressure with my hand in here. I'm not really going to apply a lot of pressure. Go ahead and crank her over. And I can get the air out of this thing, or the fuel, burn off the fuel. Ain't no fuel in those injectors.
You heard it kind of bust off a little bit too.
Yeah, a little bit.
Cranking with no ECM. Back old school.
Old school, yeah. A little bit of it came back this way too. That's fine. So.
You know, in the many videos I've seen, there's one question that I've always had. Nobody seemed to answer.
What's that? Maybe I won't be able to answer it either.
Which way does that gasket go?
Which way I know which way it goes. I can tell you which way it goes.
Dimples out or dimples in?
Dimples towards the engine block, or towards the IFSM module.
You missed lunch today. You had another good lunch.
Really?
Yeah. That's one good thing about working on Rawze's truck. We eat good.
Yeah.
I would like to eat.
It's gonna be Fat Guy's Garage for long.
That guy garage.
Went to the
What did you say yesterday?
nasty Burger King.
The doctor told you need to get in shape. I thought round was in shape.
Very good.
That's pretty good. My doctor told me to watch my weight, so I put it in the front where I can see it, man. There you go.
Looks like that in there is a little bit troublesome because of the return line.
Yeah.
Got it in a hectic place.
Wow, I'm breaking the paint on this plug here.
900,000 miles later.
Yeah. All right. Is it recording?
No,
Yep. All right. Let's check it again. See if we got any bubbles. See how bad it is. We got a good leaky one there. Look at that.
Is it two bubbles like that, Luke?
Almost
Yeah.
looks like two bubbles too, yeah.
Yeah, it's two of them.
So we got a leaky injector on the backside. Take these two screws out and then you just kind of get loose. It ain't been off in a while. There we go. And then you pull it down towards you, just where you clear it, and then you unscrew the whole pipe. Go ahead and unscrew the whole pipe. Every time I take this apart, I clean these threads, and I put Vaseline on them so they don't, the plastic doesn't get bound up. So you saw how easy that was to take apart. So I always use Vaseline on my plastic parts and their threads so that when I have to take it apart again, it's not bad. Because you know you have to take that off every couple 100,000 miles to do an overhead set. So, all right, so we'll take this off, we'll clean it up, and we need to get this piece out. So we'll clean that up real good. Now we can get to the fitting to bar the motor through the face of the air compressor. All right, let's take some of these tools off here too. Get them out of our way so we don't lose them. And I'm gonna put these two screws back in these holes so we don't lose these. Like this. Okay. We got this thing off, but I wanted to mention this. I guess I should mention this. When you got the oil cap on here and you want to put oil in this thing, these ProStars have this feature. I don't know if other trucks do, but this yellow piece that's in here, that's buried up in here, you take the oil cap off. Everybody always tries to find a funnel or something like that to put oil in with. Well, guess what? This yellow piece is a funnel. It's designed to be that way. It's supposed to slide out like this. You slide it out, you turn it 90 degrees, and then you lock it in like that, and then you put your oil in. Okay? And then when you're done, you just slide it back. It's supposed to slide back in. You know, I didn't know that either when I first bought my truck. And somebody showed me later, and then I looked it up. Yeah, sure enough, it's in a book. So they got a built-in funnel. I didn't even know it. How about that? I can't tell how many people probably don't even know that. They got a funnel right there in their truck. So, and you can use it. I can use this to put coolant in or anything else too, and then wipe it off really good, clean it, put it back on. So that's kind of cool, actually, that they did that. Not all trucks have that. Anyway, let's go ahead and clean this thing up. It's dirty.